In the series of lectures on quality control, today we are going to discuss about the sampling techniques and one of the quality control tool, that is a control charts, the topic is going to be introduced. So let's start with the sampling techniques. Students, we should be very clear that in a industry or in any setup which is following a manufacturing process or a production process, the quality is to be controlled in a very scientific way. It is not possible to carry out the inspection of all the items just to avoid scientifically devised way of sampling is done. Sampling is of three types: single sampling, double sampling, sequential sampling. Single sampling is, as you can see on the slide, a large number of enough sample is inspected and the lot is accepted or rejected on the basis of percentage number of defectives found in one sample. Now, how do we decide that? So it depends on the past data available to the industry or manufacturing process, where a percentage is decided. If there is a lot of 100, suppose we pick up a sample of 10, and then we say out of the 10 sample, in case 30%, that is 3, are defective, then we'll reject. And if it is less than 3, then we'll accept. So this is how we decide on the single sampling. In double sampling, we can't decide on the base of a single sample. So what we do, second sample is also drawn from the lot. The final decision is based on the combined results from both the sample. And likewise, in sequential sampling, it is also called as item by item analysis. This sampling involves increasing the sample size by one part at a time till the sample becomes large enough and contains sufficient number of defectives on the basis of results obtained. And then we take a call that whether we are to accept the lot or not. So we'll discuss especially double sampling and sequential sampling in the subsequent slides. Now you can see in a tabular form, suppose C1 and C2 are the acceptance number where C2 is greater than C1, and then we inspect a sample of size N1. The sample size is N1 and the defective parts which we are going to count is K1. So we have three options. What are the options? First, for acceptance a lot, that means number of defective K1 should be less than or equal to C1. So in this case, we straightway accept the lot. Then in case K1 is greater than C2, C2 is what? Is again an acceptance number. If it is greater than C2, then we reject the lot. And if it lies between C1 and C2, the number of defective items lies between the two acceptance number, that is C1 and C2, then we draw another sample of size N2. Now our sample size becomes what? N1 plus N2. Again we carry out an inspection and count the defective parts. Now in this case, the new defective parts number will be K2. So we'll say K1 plus K2. And now it is very obvious that when K1 plus K2 is greater than C2, which is again an acceptance number decided initially, then we reject the lot. And when K1 plus K2 is less than or equal to C2, then we accept the lot. Now in this tabular form, you can see this is the example of a multiple sampling. Now how do we start? We inspect the first sample and count the number of defects. What happens? If this number of defects are very small, we accept the lot. Number is very large, we reject the lot. And if it is borderline and undecisive, then what we do? We draw the second sample, count the number of defects in the first and second samples combined. What happens? If the number very small, accept the lot. If the number is very large, we reject the lot. If it is borderline undecisive, we again draw the third sample. And we count the number of defective pieces in all the three samples. Again, same thing happens. In case the number is very small, we accept the lot. If numbers is very large, we reject the lot. If it is undecisive, then we draw fourths. And in the similar way, we proceed as above. So this process is continued till the time the sample is either accepted or rejected. Now, we had already discussed that there are 7 types of quality control tools which are utilized for the control of the quality in any manufacturing process. So, before discussing in details in today's lecture series, I'll introduce you to the control charts. And the lecture outline, as shown on the slide, will be what is the basics of statistical process control, what are the control charts, what are the control charts for attributes, control charts for variables, and control chart patterns. So, the last three will be discussed in details in the subsequent lectures. So, let's start with the introduction. Now, what is a statistical process control? As shown on the slides, it is a monitoring the production process to detect and prevent poor quality. And what is a sample? Sample, like we already discussed in the sampling process, is a subset of items produced to use for inspection. And control charts is process within statistical control limits. Like for example, it has been shown that there is an average line drawn, there is a lower control limit, and there is a upper control limit. If all the sample drawn or the readings are within the limits, then the lot is accepted, otherwise it is rejected. Variability. Now students, the variability is of two types. First is the random, second is the non-random. And when we talk about a random variability, then it is because of common causes which are inherent in a process, and this can be eliminated through improvement in the system. Like it's an adjustment, initially wrong tool is used, some human error. So these are the random. But there are non-random also, which are the special causes, and these factors can be identified, and then we carry out a proper action through operator or management action, and this variability is also removed. Now there are two types of quality measures. One is for the attribute and one is for the variable. Now what is the attribute? Attribute is the one where the product characteristic that can be evaluated with the discrete response. And what is the discrete response? A good quality or a bad quality, yes or no. So the response is only two, either it's good or bad, or yes or no. In case of a variable, a product characteristic is continuous, and this can be measured. Something like weight, length, dia, all these things. I mean, the measurable quantities are part of the variable quality measures. And in case the response is limited to the good, bad, yes or no, it is uh, pertaining to the attribute. Now, in case we want to apply statistical process control to services, now we realize that nature or defect is different in services. Services is, we'll discuss subsequently what are the services. And what is a service defect? It is failure to meet the customer requirements. And in this case, we monitor times and customer satisfaction. So we'll try to understand through various examples. Now, suppose I want to apply statistical process control to services, and let's take the case of hospitals. What are the parameters? It is timeliness and quickness of care given to the patients. Any request made by the patient, what is the response of the staff? If you carried out certain tests, then what is the accuracy of those lab tests? There is overall hygiene and cleanliness, courtesy, accuracy of maintaining the records, speed, admittance, and checkouts. So all these are part of hospital uh, parameters which can be just for the customer satisfaction. And now, in case we go for a grocery stores, then what are the parameters which can be judged to check the customer satisfaction? The waiting time to check out. What is the frequency of stock out items? When we go, we want to buy certain items and we don't find them. So what is the frequency of this stock out? Then there are perishable goods like food, milk, and other products. So what is the quality of these products? What is the overall cleanliness, hygiene? Are they listening to the customer complaints? Then all those, in case you check out what are the errors in the registers. So these are the certain parameters which can be checked in the grocery stores. Similarly, in the airlines, it's again a part of the services. And what are the parameters we want to see? What are the flight delays? How many times the luggage is getting lost? How they handle the luggage? Whether there is any breakage or any damage done to the luggage kept in the aircraft? And how much time you wait at the ticket counters? Check-in time, the attendant, the flight agents, the basic courtesies, the accurate information, SMSs about the delays and the change in the flight timing, the passenger cabin cleanliness and maintenance. So all these are the part of the uh, services pertaining to the airlines, which can be checked for uh, customer satisfaction. Similarly, for the fast food restaurants, what is the waiting time for service? Customer complaints, cleanliness, hygiene, all those things are part of the services. And likewise for catalog order companies, for insurance company, what is the accuracy of the billing, how they pass claims and other things. So this is how we can see that statistical process control can be applied to the service sector. Now let's see where to use the control charts. Now all of us are aware that every process has got a tendency to go out of the control. And if it is very uh, harmful and costly in case a process got out of the control, there are a lot of rejections, then definitely we have to use the control charts. And some examples, at the beginning of the process, you started a process and the beginning only you have a uh, bad supplies. So that creates a very wrong example. In case there's some costly or irreversible point, when it is very difficult for the product to rework or correct, you have to use the control charts. And you already applied a painting operations, so that might cover the defects. So before that only you have to use the control charts. And before the outgoing final product or service is delivered, you have to ensure the quality control. Now let's talk about something specific to the control charts. And now what is a control chart? There's a simple graph that establishes control limits of a process, and it has a upper control limit and a lower control limits, lower bands, and then we can have a average readings also on the chart. And like we discussed, there are two basic characteristics: attributes and variables. So in attributes we have two charts, P chart and C chart. There's NP chart also, and variables we have a range chart and mean, that is X bar chart. So like I brought out earlier also, that attributes is basically when we have only two options, good or bad, yes or no, and variables when we can measure the characteristics. Now, as depicted here, it is something represented like this. There is an upper control limit, there is a lower control limit, and this is the process average, and these are the sample numbers. If the process, the reading in a particular sample goes out of the control, then this is very much clear to the graph. And normally what we expect when we study all this is basically supposed to have a normal distribution. And like we said, there's a spread sigma limits, 1 sigma, 2 sigma, 3 sigma. When we say 3 sigma limit, that means 99.74% of the items lies within this. And when 2 sigma, 95%, accordingly we decide about the limits. And a process in control if what? No samples points outside the limits. Like whenever you take sample, it is not outside the limit. They are near to the process average, and almost we should have equal number of points above and below center line. And all these points appear to be randomly distributed.